Hi and welcome to my completed pages video for November. If you're new to this channel, hi, my name is Ina. If not, welcome back. In November, I colored 11 pages in total, across 7 different books. I quickly set them aside and then we get started. The first page I colored in November is the Freebie from Rita Beermann for her new book Das Land der kleinen Abenteuer. It was so much fun to color this page. I picked out a color palette from Pinterest beforehand and used these colors with different emphasis for the 4 small pictures. And I used the Castle Art soft touch pencils and gel pens in gold and white. Okay, now onto the coloring books. I've completed some pages that I started during the autumn challenge. For example, in der Natur or Botanicum by Maria Trolle. The first page is this fox looking up at the moon. I used the Castle Art soft touch pencils again, along with a white gel pen and golden metallic watercolor. Hopefully you can see the shimmer. The next page is also from this book, and it's this page with the river and the angler. Here again I used the Castle Art soft touch pencils, but I also used some of the Castle Art harmonious pencils, because I used the same colors for the stones as on the other page. If you like to see how I color this page, I made a video about it. And I also used a white gel pen from Sakura for the lines in the water. Okay, that was In der Natur or Botanicum by Maria Trolle. Next, we come to my body color with the Lina Moonlight from Instagram. And we completed the first proper page in this book, which is Mystic Animals by Stratton Peterson. It's this page with the deer. And as I mentioned in my November plan video, I was somewhat inspired by the back cover, especially for the colors for the wreath. I hope you can see it, but the wreath is entirely colored with Deco Time glitter markers. I really like how it sparkles. Additionally, I used Castle Art's watercolor pencils for basing and then Castle Art soft touch pencils on top, along with a few pencils from the Harmonious set for the deer. And as on almost every page, I also used the white gel pen from Sakura. I show you Selena's version here. I really love her autumnal colors and that very shiny golden wreath in the background. It's always so much fun to do a body color with her. If you're interested in doing a body color with me in the next year, feel free to reach out. Okay, that was Mystic Animals or Geheimnisvolle Krafttiere by Stratton Peterson. Moving on to Morgentau or Twilight Garden by Maria Trolle. I colored this mandala featuring acorns, hazelnuts and chestnuts. To color the mandala, I used the soft touch pencils from Castle Arts. And if you've seen my last haul video, then you have also seen how I did the background using soft pastels and a stencil. And for the first time using this kind of stencils, I really like the result. Now we come to another page from this book. And it's also another page from the Autumn Challenge. This one here with the squirrel and the basket full of flowers. For the background, I used the Castle Arts watercolor pencils. I based the tree trunk and the leaves with watercolors made from felt tip pens. And then I used the Castle Arts soft touch pencils. And for the silver frame, I used a gel pen from Avec. That was Morgentau or Twilight Garden by Maria Trolle. Another page that I colored in my haul video is from Small Victories by Joanna Basford. I colored this butterfly, and in the video you can see how I do it with only using the Faber-Castell pastel pencils. After the video, I added some soap bubbles in the background, also using the Faber-Castell pastel pencils and a white gel pen from Sakura. I really like this pastel look in this case, but in general I think I'll combine the pastel pencils more with my other supplies, rather than using them alone often. That was my first page in Small Victories by Joanna Basford. Moving on to Astrology by Anna Jaren. I spent a really long time coloring in this book this month, even though it was only 2 pages, but both took quite a while. The first page is the Scorpio zodiac sign. Here again I used the Castle Arts watercolor pencils for basing, and for the sky and the ground I used them in 2 layers and don't color over them with colored pencils. For the other elements, I colored over them with Castle Art soft touch pencils, and for the succulents, I used the Faber-Castell pastel pencils. Until the very end, I wasn't sure whether to make a darker or lighter Scorpio. Ultimately, I decided on this one with a darker body and lighter limbs and a lighter tail. I was inspired by the hairy desert Scorpio, which I used as a reference. I thought a black or dark brown Scorpio would be too dark because he's so big on the page. The next page in this book is the element of water. Again, I started by basing several elements with the watercolor pencils, and then went over with the Castle Art soft touch. For the clouds and waves, I also used a pastel pencil from Faber-Castell. Then for the ship masts, I used a silver gel pen. And for the foam splashes on the waves, I used a white adding marker. This one here. I have this marker new and it's actually intended for glass, metal and plastic. But it works really well in a coloring book too, if you use 2 layers. The only issue is that I thought the tip would be a bit thinner. It's about 1 to 2 millimeters. So it's not suitable to very fine details, like cover lines. But it still works great for larger details and dots. That was Astrology by Anna Jaren. Then I colored a page in Creattopia by Wax. This one here with the geckos. On the page next to it, it says color the second gecko. Only the upper gecko had doodles, while the lower one was completely plain, just the outlines. And since many pages in this book contrasts doodles with realistic animals, like the cover, I decided to color the lower gecko realistically, without adding any doodles. For this, I used the Castle Arts gold pencils and a metallic watercolor for the background. Because the geckos are curved, they remind me of a yin-yang symbol, which inspired me to create this background. It doesn't align perfectly with the tails, but that's okay. Depending on how the light hits, it looks a bit patchy, or you can see the shimmer more intensely. I'm considering adding a second layer to make it look less patchy. We'll see, but with the right lighting, the shine is quite beautiful. Okay, that was Creattopia by Vex. The last page I colored this month is from Meine Reise durch Asien by Rita Beermann. And I finally completed the Tokyo page. This page was part of my 25 pages in 2025 challenge. And I had been putting it off for a long time because there are so many different elements on this page. But now I finally colored it. And in the end, it wasn't as challenging as I thought. And it was really fun. For this page, I used the Castle Arts gold pencils and a gold, silver and white gel pen. Initially, I wanted to outline the petals in white, which I tried on these two, but I didn't like the result. So I scratched it off. I always like it when others cover the lines, but often I don't find it as pleasing on my own pages. That's why I only did it on the cloud and this wisp of smoke. Regarding my yearly goal of coloring 5 pages in each of my books, I now only have 2 books left where I need to complete pages. So I'm quite confident I will reach my goal. And that's great. I also have just 1 page left for the 25 pages in 2025 challenge. Once that's done, I'll make a video talking about whether I achieve all my goals for this year and what my goals for 2026 will be. Which page or pages did you like best? My favorite is definitely the Tokyo page. And the 2 pages in Astrology. Probably because I invested the most time in them. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time. Bye!